Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. It has been too long since I've seen Sasaki and Miyano. I've been gone on a trip last week, and so I had actually watched a lot of Sasaki and Miyano back to back in preparation for that trip because I knew that I was going to be gone. I wasn't going to have time to watch it, and so it's been a solid week and a half since I've watched the series. But the last couple days, I've kind of become obsessed with the dub. I've watched episodes. I found out, I heard the dub was good, and I was like, oh, I'll just watch an episode on a whim. I really like episode 8, so I'll watch this episode 8 in the dub. It was great, and so then I watched episodes 8, 9, and 10, which is as far as the dub has gotten so far. So I watched 8, 9, 10, and then now I've gone back, and I've watched episodes 1, 2, and I'm on episode 3 of the dub, and it's so good. It's so cute. It's great. The cast is amazing, and I would put it up there with the Skate the Infinity and Yuri on Ice dub. I love the Skate the Infinity and Yuri on Ice dubs so much. The English dubs are wonderful, and I was telling people in the Discord that this is right up there with it. I'm absolutely in love with the dub. The voice actor for Sasaki is just perfect, and Miyano is perfect. They're all great, right? And the voice actor for Joe from Skate is Ogasawara. It's wonderful. I love it. But we have 2 episodes left. Two episodes left, and luckily there's an OVA coming out this summer, which I'm really excited about, and then there's going to be a second anime project, so that's really exciting. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with it. I'm probably not going to do a live stream for Sasaki until after that second project that's coming out, or at least until after the OVA, because I'm very curious as to what the OVA is going to cover. I thought about reading the manga, but then now that they've announced the other anime project, I'm like, I want to wait and then just see what all is entailed in it, and then once I find out more info, we'll kind of go from there. But the fact that Sasaki and Miyano is not ending after this season is amazing. It's like with Link Click, it's like knowing that there's a second season on the way, or in an OVA. It's the best feeling. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah. So episodes 11 and 12 for now are all we have left. And so that's kind of one of the reasons I've been hesitant to get back into this series. It's taken me so long, like a week and a half off, because I was like, I want to savor these last 2 episodes, but I need to watch them. At this point, they're going to be coming out soon on Patreon. I need to watch them. So, but yeah. So I don't know exactly what to expect. Miyano, they went on their movie date, and Miyano realized that, yes, he loves Sasaki. It is official. His feelings, now they just have to talk to each other and get it all out there in the open, right? So here's hoping that we do that this season. If we get a confession by the end of episode 12, I will be happy. If they at least get together by the end of episode 12, I will be happy. So we shall see. But in any case, we're going to find out what's going on with episode 11 here. Again, thank you, Seth Mary. Thank you, September Scanlations, for the subs. I love them. So in any case, let's dive in, shall we? We're going to watch episode 11 of Sasaki and Miyano, and we are going to start that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I came to Sasaki and Miyano to not feel stressed. And what do I get? A big old ball of stress. Oh my god, this episode. This episode was so good. It was wonderful, but oh my gosh, y'all. Oh my gosh. So the president, I've been wrong this whole time. I kept thinking the president had a thing for Miyano, but no, that's not been the case at all. It's that he sees his brothers in Miyano and Sasaki, and he wants them to be happy because that means that he knows his brothers can be happy in a relationship too. And that whole thing is an interesting situation, but oh my god. So Miyano is now going through what Sasaki's been through, but Miyano is a lot less patient. I love this Sasaki, who's been our gung-ho, wooer of Miyano this whole time. He has been patient and been it's taken they've been seeing each other without seeing each other for a year and a half now. and he's been so patient. But Miyano's realized his feelings for 2 days, and he's like, I can't hold back. Well, it's been like a couple weeks, but still. Oh my gosh, this episode. And they had to end it there. Ugh, oh my god. I'm not going to watch there's a part of me that wants to watch episode 12 now, but I want to savor that final episode, so I'm going to wait a couple days at least and let this soak. And maybe hopefully I think I'll wait to watch episode 12 until the dub of this episode comes out, because like I said at the beginning, the dub for episode 10 is as far as it's gotten. The dub for this episode hasn't come out yet. So I think I want to watch this in the dub and then watch the final episode. But I will say this, it was very jarring. The last couple days I've been watching the English dub of this series, and so it was a little jarring at first to go back to Japanese and be like, oh yeah. But surprisingly, the voice actors, like the tone and inflection, it fits the Japanese acting perfectly. It's such a good dub, and it's so hilarious and wonderful. But oh my god, this episode. Oh, and it's all from Miyano's perspective. A lot of this series has been from Sasaki's perspective, and then we cut back and forth. But this entire episode has been pretty much from Miyano's perspective, which is really good. The Miyano and the president. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so we just cut to the movie right back where we left off, and Miyano realizing that, no, these feelings I have, I do know what he meant now. The feeling is mutual, and he knows it. So he's like, well, damn it, now I have to confess to him. How does one confess? What goes into that? He's like, we've been seeing each other for like a year and a half. How do I confess to him my feelings? I've never done that before. He's never kissed anybody before. Oh my god. Like all the firsts with Miyano. All the firsts. But I love that he's just tying the flashback. And that whole thing with the bag. Oh my god. Didn't notice it this whole time. Just didn't ever notice it. And then when he brought it up, it's like, it has been all the time. He's been making himself get closer to him this entire time. So I do like that Miyano, there's a part of me that wants him just to burst out his love for him. But that line, confessions take balls of steel. Yes, they do. They are terrifying to confess that you love someone. It's terrifying because there's that chance of rejection. And if you do get rejected, it sucks and it hurts. So yeah, no, I get why Miyano's hesitant. He's like, somebody's like, well, why doesn't he just say it? It's like, no, that feeling is hard, right? And I don't blame Miyano a bit for wanting to wait to get him alone. But of course, as soon as he wants to get him alone, it doesn't work out because there's all these factors that are suddenly now in the way. It's so true to real life. It's like, nope, now that you need to do something, every little thing is going to get in the way. But oh my gosh. But yeah, I love that Miyano's like, okay, we need to think about this rationally, plan this out. But oh my god, the animation of this, he's like, how should I tell him? Right? Because he's like, I want this to be special. And Sasaki's waited this whole time for me, so I don't want to just come out and say it and make his patience seem cheap. So, but it's like, how does he confess? How does he go about doing it now? What are the steps, right? How do you confess to someone? Well, the good thing is he has a wealth of references through the BL that he owns, a wealth of references, right? But oh my god. So I like that so then we cut to the fact that I love the fact that we go back to the movie theater and we see Sasaki being like, you want to head to a cafe? Then we can discuss the movie some more. And we see this girl going up to the president and the chairman, Hanzawa, who's like, oh my god, I just caught them going to a BL movie together. They are dating. Oh my god. OMG. And she's like, are you okay? So we don't know if he's dating this girl or if they're just friends and they're just seeing, a movie. He's like, I'm really shocked that something I've suspected for a long time is true. Yeah, he suspected that they were into each other, but he didn't want to assume, and now he knows for sure, or seems to know for sure. Also, for the record, Hanzawa's maroon coat, I want it. I want his cream-colored turtleneck and his coat. I would so dress as Hanzawa in this scene. It's great. And he's like, I'm not disappointed. There's nothing I can do about it, but I'm not sure how to deal with the situation. So he's like, I don't know how to process this, right? Because his two friends are possibly going to be seeing each other. So he's like, and it hits close to home for him, right? He's like, wait, did I ask for orange juice? And she's like, I couldn't decide what I wanted, so I just got that for you. Split it with me. I like this girl. And he's like, okay. And so, yeah, they go see the movie together. A classmate I didn't feel poorly towards and an underclassman I was fond of. So, I like that he's like, describes Sasaki as a classmate I didn't feel poorly towards. Like, a guy I was neutral about, and Miyano, who I like. But it's not really like in a romantic sense. It's that he was fond of. He thought fondly of Miyano. I love this. Right? And the idea, and he's like, And so then we cut to, I was trying to think who this guy was, but I'm not into guys, so don't expect any I'm not into guys. Okay, that must be a typo, because I was a little confused at first when it said I'm not into guys, so don't expect any grandkids from me. That must be a typo. He must have meant I'm not into girls, because later on he says I'm not into girls. I'm like, okay. That typo confused me for a little bit, because I was, at the beginning when that first came up and it said guys instead of girls, I thought maybe it was a guy that Hanzawa had tried to date that had rejected him. And that's why he was like, oh, I had this thing for Miyano, but now he's with another guy, so it's not going to work out. That's what I thought it was coming from. I didn't know it was his brother, and I didn't know that it was supposed to say girls there. So that kind of changes the whole context of the scene. A gay relationship. Interesting. Yeah. And that kind of subverts, because, you know, I kind of thought Hanzawa was into Miyano romantically, but now we know that he's not. Interesting. And then, yeah, of course, now that Miyano has admitted that he likes Sasaki, likes him, of course, like, the rose glasses are on, and now suddenly he's super cute. Everything's there, the flowers and geometric shapes are everywhere. And so I love it. I love that now Miyano's going through the motions just like Sasaki did. And he says, I'm sure he wouldn't be thrilled to hear another guy find him cute looking. I'm like, well, Miyano, he's called you cute a lot. I think he'd be okay if you called him cute back. I think he'd be fine with that. But Miyano is looking at it from the perspective of how can I be thinking something like that after what happened to me back in middle school. Miyano's thinking of how he felt back in middle school when people called him cute and he was trying to be cool. But Sasaki's called him cute this entire time and he's been okay with it. So, okay. Especially for a guy as cool as Senpai who just charges right ahead with things that I'm dithering over. Yeah, Sasaki charges right ahead, but he has a lot of hesitancy and a lot of patience, especially when it comes to his relationship and feelings towards Miyano. So it's funny that Miyano has this perception of Sasaki that we, the audience, know is somewhat true. A little different, though. And so then they talk about the book and the CD and everything. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then he's like, I like these, like, they're allowed to get steamy regarding the bedroom scenes. So I was like, this is BL. Again, Sasaki thinking about steamy bedroom scenes. Like, Sasaki is totally into it. Totally all about it. And Miyano's like, okay, yeah. It was so natural in the movie. I'm glad we got to see the live action version. And I like that throughout this entire series, we've always seen Sasaki with the gestures, like holding his head, holding the back of his neck, like we've seen his hands fidgeting and stuff. We've seen Sasaki going through the motions of the nonverbal communication of showing he's in love, but he can't do anything about it. Now we're seeing Miyano like clench his fists and do things with his hands and stuff and do the bag motion. We're seeing it on Miyano's end now that he's got it just as bad as Sasaki. And then Miyano is lamenting, of course, that we don't have any classes together. We're not in the same clubs. We're never alone. When am I going to confess to him? And there's always other people around. And I like these, like, I've made him wait so long, I don't even know where to begin. He's like, yeah, I've made Sasaki wait for me this entire time, so I want to make it a grand gesture that measures up to the patience he's had waiting on me to give him an answer. And it's like, how are we going to do that, Miyano? Ugh. Next time I see him for sure. And so, yeah. I like the Chris. I was like, well, Miyano's having a breakdown, so let's document this. And then Tasha was like, he's always like that. And he's like, we need to go somewhere private. Behind the school is too cliche. And so they bring up the bakery, and I was like, the bakery would be a good place to confess. It's somewhere comfortable for Sasaki. But I don't know if he's going to confess to him like on the stairwell here or do something or be like, can we go meet in the bakery later on? But then Toshiro and Kurosawa wanted to go to the bakery too. So I'm just thinking Miyano just needs to take Sasaki back to the bakery and just confess there. Just a nice private spot, right? Behind the bakery. I don't know. I would say in the bakery, but there's going to be probably a lot of people there. So that defeats the purpose. I also like that Kurosawa's like, I don't want my girlfriend meeting you. I'm like, why not? Why don't you want your girlfriend meeting Toshiro? Why are you so protective of her? But, oh my god, yeah, Miyano. And then with this guy, the class president for their class, he just saunters, he prances in, he's like, Christmas is nearly upon us, you dickweeds. What? His whole thing is amazing. This whole monologue about the Christmas party. About it. Oh my god. First annual Christmas party. This guy is amazing. And Kurosawa's like, sorry, I'm out. Like, Kurosawa's like, girlfriend is the reason. But this gesture, him holding his hands up in the air with the light shining down, he's like, all you losers with girlfriends, get those hands in the air and I'll mark you absent. And everybody's hands go up. Everybody's. He's like, I like the ones like this. It's like, where are you finding all these chicks? Well, there is a co-ed school right next door. They established that back in episode 1. Then the silver-haired guy, right? This side character. Looking at Toshiro, I'm like, does he have a thing for Toshiro? Is that a thing? I love, he's like, what's with the long wait? He's like, you've got a girlfriend? He's like, I don't have one yet, but I'm planning to get one by Christmas. I'm like, I feel like he's just in this scene to establish the type of relationship that fleeting, like, fling that you get, like the Christmas fling. Because I know exactly what they're talking about. There's a kind of a derogatory name for it where I'm from, and I'm not going to say it and give it, dignity. But that is definitely a thing. That is definitely a thing. There is a stereotypical thing where people get together right before Christmas, and then by Valentine's Day they broke up. It's a thing. And so as soon as they started talking about it, I was like, but he's like, I just don't want to be single. Like, doesn't want to be single over the holidays. And the president's like, well, if you're with all of us, you're not spending it, with anybody. If you're spending it with us for a Christmas party, you're not by yourself. And then the guy says, I want to be not single with a girl. So, And then Miyano, I was like, don't you dare think that. And then there's this other conversation happening at the top of the screen. They talk about cross-dressing, and they're like, it's better than spending it alone, right? But Miyano and them do end up spending Christmas alone. They don't get together. He waits until after Christmas because he's so paranoid. He wants this relationship to work out so well, and he wants Sasaki to be on board with this relationship that he wants to avoid any possibility that it could get messed up. And the whole Christmas thing, Miyano's like, no, I don't want Sasaki to get the wrong idea. We'll wait till after Christmas. I'm like, he's just trying to make it as perfect as possible. And it's so adorable. And then I love that Kurosawa sticks up for Miyano in this moment. He's like, raise your hand. He's like, traitors who aren't coming to the party. Shirahama, Kurosawa, Odori, Yuhi, and Miyano. You aren't coming. You're all useless. He's like, why'd you do that? And he's like, I'm helping you keep the date open. Keep your options open. You can decide to go to the party later if you want. The other guys raising their hands did the same thing. And he's like, some of you are lying. And they're like, ha 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 ha. But Miyano, I like that Tashiro's like, don't you? He's like, you're taking after Kurosawa. You have a boyfriend. Everyone is in a relationship except me. I feel like Toshiro is like the honest one of the group. That he's too dense to get the idea to lie and say he has a girlfriend even though he doesn't. Yeah. He's like, I'm just keep telling him to keep his options open. Like, he's not in a relationship. I like this as otaku get busy this time of year. I guess because they have more time to read. He's like, oh, is that it? I thought maybe Miyano and Sasaki senpai were finally dating. Everybody's expecting it to happen. It's just a matter of time. And Miyano's like, There isn't much that phases you, is there, Toshiro? He's like, why would it faze me? You guys have been together for like practically a year. You're just not officially saying it. Oh my god, I love this episode. It's so good. But yeah, Christmas. Not much chance of us bumping into each other coincidentally during winter break. So if I want to see him, I'll have to ask. And it's funny because usually in the West, people hang out like over winter break because we're out for school. But we don't usually hang out on Christmas. Usually people spend Christmas with their families because it's a much more, depends on the family. Depends on how religious you are, or if you really celebrate Christmas or not. But usually, even if you don't celebrate the holiday, people are with their families around that time. But oh my gosh. So Sasaki's doing his extra classes over break. Hirano's going home for break. So Hirano doesn't live near there, I guess. Just doing cram classes. And they go through all this. I like that Sasaki says, I'm sorry, all I'm doing is complaining. I like that because it's like when you want to be in a relationship with somebody, you don't want to seem like a negative Nancy. And I find myself doing that a lot too around friends. I try not to be crazy negative, but sometimes you got to vent to your friends, like vent the frustrating negative things that are happening. But I get that idea that if you like somebody, you don't want to seem like somebody that's just complaining all the time. So I feel like what Sasaki says to him right here is very relatable, right? And I was like, it doesn't sound like you're complaining. You're fine. He's like, okay. So after graduation, I like these, like, so do you know what you're going to be doing after high school? And he's like, no, I got to do some more research. I'm kind of undecided. It's a very appropriate response. I'm like, what's Sasaki doing in college? Because he establishes he's going to college. He's like, what are you doing? I'm curious. I'm curious if we're going to find out. Even if it's not this season, if we find out in the OVA or in the next whatever season project they do, that would be interesting. Because yeah, it's already January. They only have a couple months left until Sasaki graduates. That's crazy. Time has flown by in this series. It's insane. But yeah, and I like that Miyano wonders, he's like, I don't want to ask him while he's studying because I don't want to throw him off. I don't want him to like get distracted. Should I just wait till the exams are over? But it's like, it keeps on building and building, and there's never going to be a perfect time to tell him, right? It's just going to have to come down to whenever Miyano feels the most comfortable, like he can express it in the best way possible. But yeah, there's never going to be a perfect time. But yeah, he says he's waited for all this time for me already. And so forgetting he's got his own schedule. He doesn't want to be selfish, right? And so he's like, I'll cheer for your success. Oh, it's so cute. It's freaking adorable. And then, yeah, Miyano's like, I wonder if he felt the same way when he confessed to me. Yeah, we all know. And I like that line, the year gap feels bigger than ever. I never realized how difficult it could be telling someone how you feel. I like the idea that gap between them in age, it feels stronger now that, yeah, because if you've ever dated somebody that's older than you, then there is that gap of age. And especially if they're out of high school and you're in high school, it is weird. When I was 16, I dated somebody briefly that was 19. And that was so bizarre. It was almost too bizarre because it was like I was still in high school and they were out of high school, and it felt like we were in different worlds. It was one of those scenarios where you just felt like you were in a different world from them. And it didn't last very long because I was like, no, this is weird. But it's curious that Miyano is touching on that now, right? That they're kind of drifting. But I like that, unlike like series like Daokusei, in Daokusei, the big, hurdle for those two main characters to get through is the idea of them, one going off to college and one staying home. And even though they're the same age, there is that distance, that separation that becomes a big hurdle. And so they bring it up here, but I'm going to be curious. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get to Sasaki graduating by next episode, but if they do the OVA, if they do a season 2, it will be interesting to see if they do start dating, if he confesses and they do start dating. It's going to be interesting to see how is that going to affect, because these two have been together for like the last year and a half, like conjoined at the hips. They get on the trains together, they walk home together, they go to the bookstore together, like they've done all these activities together, whether they've been a couple or not. And so now it's going to be like, now that Sasaki's in college, if he does get accepted, how is that dynamic going to change, and what is it going to do to their relationship? That's going to be really interesting. That's going to be really interesting to see. But yeah. Oh. So then he talks about the exhibition, which if I lived in Japan, I would go to exhibitions all the time if I could. I see so many of them on Twitter, and I'm like, I want to go to there. I want to go to there. And I like that Miyano's like, well, I can go with you, but don't you need to study? And he's like, I need a break. Because, yeah, he's like, I want a break from studying. And also, I think Sasaki just want to hang out with Miyano. And so, yeah, we don't ever get confirmation if they went to, I guess they went to the exhibition, but he just couldn't, again, find the right time to confess to him then. Interesting. And if you just want to look at the exhibition, you can just go there. And they just talk about their interests and everything. It's so cute. It's adorable. But yeah. It's so sweet. I kept wondering if they were like panning over to that girl. If she was like going to give him a look or anything. But man, the look that Sasaki gives him. Y'all. And there'll be lots of people around. So yeah. Then Hanzawa sees Sasaki in the mall, right? He's like, Hassan-senpai. In that same sweater and everything. Interesting. But then Masato. So Masato Hanzawa. So Masato is the brother. That's his name. Or Hanzawa's first name is Masato. And so then here comes the brother. The cashier said it'd be another 10 minutes. This is my big brother and this is my Kohei. Well, hello there. We're running errands for our parents. Yeah, so he's like, we're just doing, running the errands. I'm a student preparing for exams. Can you believe the nerve? He's like, you can complain all you want, but I know you're trying to meet up with your friends, Ma-kun. Ma-kun! And that's the thing, them calling him Ma-kun. And I love that the president's like, stop saying my name like that. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Watch what you say in public. He's like, oh, sorry. And I love that Miyano's like, Ma-kun. Like that name. Like, this is all we're going to call you from now on. He's like, now he's taken to it. Yeah, he's just like, and the cat paws and everything. He's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Miyano, your winter break project is to forget what you just heard. I love it. Got it? He's like, not to worry, I'm very forgetful. He's like, I don't believe that for a second. And so he says, are you by chance Masato's boyfriend? So this is where it gets interesting, right? This is where everything gets interesting because the brother is established to be gay. And the other brother is too, but not Masato, not Hanzawa. But the oldest brother, he says, are you his boyfriend? And he's like, what? And he's like, of course he is. In good grief, you're impossible. He's like, no. It's interesting. He's like, well, you looked like you were enjoying yourself is all. So maybe he is suspecting, maybe the brother, Hanzawa's brother, is suspecting that Miyano is gay or that Miyano likes guys, and he's just getting that vibe, like his spider senses are tingling, and he's just getting that vibe, and so he was like, oh, are you with Masato by chance? Because you guys have this, like, instant chemistry, and Masato's like, no. He's like, do you want to hear a secret? Back in middle school, Masato here was, and he's like, hey, if I wish you stop bringing every conversation around to romance. So, does Hanzawa like guys and girls? Is he just saying that he likes girls to ease his parents' concerns? Let me talk about this. Because he's like, Because the brother seems to think that Hanzawa was into guys back in middle school. Okay. So the brother leaves to go check out the cashier and everything. He's like, sorry things got weird there. I just get so tired of his obsession with romance. So it's almost like he's trying to apply the BL or that type of relationship onto his brother that he and his other brother have. Interesting. He's like, I feel like I've heard Hanzawa-senpai talk a lot about romance, though. He has. He spent like all season talking about romance. Absolutely. And now we understand the whole conversation about the brother from the fortune telling. When he mentioned the brother, I was like, who's the brother? Now we know. Okay. I once saw Sasaki-senpai talking with his older sister, and they seemed really close. And so we established Miyano's an only child, so he doesn't know what it's like to have siblings. And you're someone's little brother. So, yeah, Sasaki and Hanzawa are both the little brothers. And I like that he's like, what exactly is that supposed to mean? He's like, oh, don't hurt me. Please spare the hair for today. And I like that. But for a second, he like goes to give him the head pat. And he withdraws. So there's a part of me that wonders, like, does Hanzawa like Miyano? but he's like being respectful of Sasaki and his relationship? Or is he like not wanting to give Miyano the wrong idea? Is he not wanting Sasaki to like, does he not want to betray Sasaki in this moment by giving them the head pats? There's a lot of different ways I think you can interpret it, but he says you shouldn't let just anyone ruffle your hair like that, Miyano. He's like, you shouldn't just let anybody get close to you. They might get the wrong idea. You just happen to be the perfect height for head rubs, that's all. I mean, even Ogasawara was going to give him the head pat, so it might have been that wasn't the case, but he says, still, you've grown a bit. You're right at my hip this time last year. And he's like, I wasn't that short. I like that Sasaki says his chest and Hanzawa says my hip. It's like, have you reached 170 centimeters yet? He's like, just a little bit more to go. Aww. It's like, maybe by the time you graduate, you'll make it. He's like, you think I can? So cute. Aww. And then he leaves. So then this conversation, the brother comes back. And the brother says he's sorry. He says, you look like you're enjoying yourself for the first time in a while, and I couldn't help but tease you. Which is a very sibling thing to do. He's like, it's fine. It's just he has someone else he's interested in already, so don't get him involved next time. Okay. He's like, don't mess up what he's got with the other guy. And so he's like, oh, yeah, totally. Did we get everything we need? All that's left is the chicken. And the brother with his cute little mole by his lips, but you aren't really into him? And he's like, you're taking me off. So the brother seems to think that he is. It's only you have lots of friends, but no one special. Which, is a relatable thing. And he's like, I wondered if that was because of us. If you feel awkward about bringing it up, I can talk to mom and dad. And I like that he's like, no. He's like, are you under the mistaken impression that I'm into guys? He's like, you aren't? No, I'm attracted to women. So even the brother is like, aren't you into guys? He's like, no. So I kind of like that. I like the Hanzawa is not into guys, that he actually does like women. I like that because it is subverting that. Honestly, I thought Hanzawa was into guys this entire season, but no, he's not. And so that's interesting. And it just goes to show you that it can kind of go both ways, this subversion of how we think of people, to the point where even the brother thought that he was. But he says he's not. He's like, then what gives? You hang out with chicks a lot, but you never date any of them. And he says, I enjoy spending time with my friends now. Is all. He's like, I don't want to be in a relationship. That's the thing. So I can totally relate to that, though, because I'm a big romantic. I love romance. But relationships are hard, and they're a lot of work. And they require a lot of give and take. And sometimes you just don't want to invest that, right? You don't want to risk the rejection. You don't want to invest the time and energy into it. I totally get where Hanzawa is coming from, being like, I'm enjoying the time I'm spending with my friends. I'm kind of the same way. It's like there's a part of me that's like, oh yeah, I could go off and be in this relationship, but that's a lot of work right now. I was like, no, I like being with my friends and hanging out, not having that obligation and not having to worry about all that pressure, right? Because I feel like Hanzawa is under enough pressure. They've established the last several episodes the Hanzawa is under a lot of pressure. He's doing a lot for the class. So I feel like this is the one aspect of his life he can control. And he's like, I don't want to deal with that right now. So I respect Hanzawa a lot. I really like him in this episode. He's like, oh, is that it? Yeah, I had times like that myself too. I get it now. I'm sorry I was harsh with you before. He's like, I don't have any hard feelings about your romantic relationships. So we need to talk about this. And the brother's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm glad I'm your big bro. So at the dinner table, here's how this was the thing. In the one translation at the beginning, it says, I'm not into guys. And here it says, oh yeah, mom, I'm into guys. So don't expect any grandkids from me, okay? Like, he just comes out and says it. And so there's 4 children. There's the 3 brothers and the sister. And they all have the same eyes. And the mom's like, is this what they call coming out? And the dad is not there, right? But I think we established that they do have a dad, so maybe he was at work. And it looks like they're in middle school when he comes out and says this. And I like the visual imagery here. The mom is at the center of the table. the sister's in her schoolgirl outfit. She looks like the youngest. Hanzawa has everything buttoned up. He's very rigid, proper, like put together. And then you have the other brother who has the messy hair, his shirt's undone, his buttons are all done. And then it's like the other brother, his jacket is completely off. So I like this symbolism almost of the one brother, he's completely free. Like he has no restrictions and he comes out and says like, I like guys. And then the other brother is like partially there where he's like, well, I think I might like guys too. And then Hanzawa has everything straight-laced and closed off. And the mom's like, oh. And he's like, you too, Ni-chan. He's like, me too, I'm pretty sure at least. And they're like, really? And he's like, birds of a feather are we. And then the mom says, and you, Masato. So the one brother's like, I'm gay. And the other brother's like, well, I think I am too, actually. And so the mom's like, what about you, Masato? And I like that she doesn't have a bad reaction to it. She doesn't get mad, but she says, what about you, Masato? And he's like, oh, I prefer girls. And she goes, I see. Well, okay, it looks like Masato will handle the grandkids and you two do as you like. That's the part that's like, Because as long and then Hanzawa comments and they're like, oh, she gets us. Well, it's not really that though. He says, why was mom relieved? Well, she was relieved because she has a chance at grandkids in the family, like to keep the family name going, because when the daughter marries, supposedly she'll go into that family. So yeah, I feel bad for Hanzawa in this episode because you have the one brother who's like, mom gets us. And it's like, well, she's okay with you two being gay because Hanzawa is not. That's what it comes across as. And I'm glad that she's accepting of the two of them both being gay. I'm glad she's accepting of both of them having a different sexuality than what's considered like the hetero norm. But I feel bad for Hanzawa because it's almost like Hanzawa doesn't get a say in his sexuality. It's just, he goes, oh, I prefer girls. I prefer girls, right? So maybe Hanzawa's bisexual. Maybe that's it. He just prefers girls, but he's okay with both. We don't know. But it almost feels like he says that to his mom to appease her and to keep the situation from getting awkward. And I just feel bad for him because it takes away his freedom. Like the two brothers are like, oh, we can be in a relationship. And she says, you guys are free to do what you want. Hanzawa's going to give me the grandkids. And Hanzawa's like, well, what if I didn't want kids? You know, it's just, I feel bad for him because it puts him in a tight corner that his other brothers aren't in. That's, interesting. I feel bad for him. I really do. But he smiles. He says, it doesn't seem like it's a life of nothing but worry, Mom. Saying, I'll admit I was surprised. But when I look back on it, these two always seem so happy together. So yeah, Hanzawa's like, man, he's like, the life that my brothers lead is full of a lot of potential judgment. He's like, it's scary. I don't know how they do it. But when he looks at Miyano and Sasaki, he's like, they always seemed happy together. So he's like, if they can be happy together, then I know that my brothers, he's like, it made me want to believe that my brothers would be happy as well. So there's two lines of dialogue going on at the same time here. Hanzawa says, it made me want to believe that my brothers would be happy as well. Meaning like, if Sasaki and Miyano can have this healthy, good relationship, then I know that my brothers can as well. And that's good. So I like that. I like that he comes out and says it. But then the brother at the top says, I don't want you getting involved with any bad types is all. So I love that these two brothers are looking out for one another. It's so sweet. And Hanzawa, even though he's the younger brother, he's the taller one of the two. So that's really cute. But I love that the oldest brother's like, I just don't want you to date anybody bad. That's all. Aww. So cute. He's like, I'll just have to find a guy who can pass your test then, Ma-kun. So that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah, the brother's like, okay, well then I just need to meet somebody who's going to be up to your standards for me to date. That's really sweet. I really like that, actually. Aww. But yeah, Hanzawa. Because of how very happy those two looked together. Yeah, so Hanzawa, I love this information that's come out with him and his brothers and his family. All of his actions make much more sense now. all the stuff he said to Miyano, like him watching Sasaki and him, it all makes sense. It all came together. But yeah, so then it's Christmas. I love that even the shapes are red and green. They're very thematic. It's wonderful. But then we cut to after New Year, January 6th. And by this point, Miyano was like, okay, the Christmas, bad luck is over. Now I can confess to Sasaki, but there's never been a time to do it. Everybody keeps asking for him. And he's like, it's fine, I'll tell you later. And then they keep getting interrupted. Oh my God. And Miyano's like, I can't take it anymore. And all the shapes and everything overwhelming. He's just like, I just need to tell him that I love him. But he never has the right chance to do it. And so finally, he's like, it's a new year now. He's like, I feel like I've read a BL where one character pulled another into an alley. So he even contemplates that, but he's like, I don't want to get in the way of his studies, so I'll just give my response and head home immediately. Yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm like, sure, Miyano, you're just gonna confess to him and then leave? Okay. Sure thing, Jan. All right. Oh my God. But no. But he's like, today's the day. And then, of course, everything gets in the way. So they meet up together after school. And so I guess since Hanzawa's a third year and they only have a couple months left, I guess that Hanzawa's been training the new class president, right? Or, Hanzawa's not in Miyano's class, though. But I guess whoever the new class president is, that's who has been training, right? I like that they talk about the BLCD. It's great. The band that's been playing it, they're adorable. These two lovebirds, they just need to confess their feelings. His mom recognized some of the songs. Great. But I just kept wanting them to get together and to confess. And then, it's just, and that's when we notice the bag thing. They switches the bags over and Sasaki's like, you move your bag to your other shoulder a lot. So why are you doing that? Why is that? And I love that Miyano's like, oh, well, that's because... And he like hesitates for a second. And I thought for a second, he's like, because he wanted to hold his hand, because he wanted to bump into him. But he says, I didn't want you to hit you with my bag. Like, and that look by Sasaki. Sasaki's expression when he is like he's like, it's that gesture. He's been caring about Sasaki this entire time. That gesture is amazing. I have got to take a picture of it. It has to happen. It's over. It has to happen. Oh my God. Yes, it's over. But yeah, that look on his face that he's like, oh my God. He's like, this whole time. I felt like Sally Field and Mrs. Doubtfire. She's like, the whole time? He's like, this whole time he has been actually caring about me and doing this kindness, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And I like that Miyano's just sitting there like, I need to confess. Like, I love it because Sasaki, we've got everything from Miyano's perspective. And I'm like, is Sasaki, as they're walking down the stairs, that Sasaki is having an internal freak out, right? We know that that's what's happening. And meanwhile, Miyano's sitting here like, I just need to confess what is happening. It's, God, the tension in this episode is so good. He's like, forget I said that. He's like, do you do that for everybody? He's like, no, I don't walk side by side with many people. And you always walk on my left, so it's muscle memory by now. Oh, how long has he been doing that? And then, yep, we come back to since the beginning. Yep. Oh God, it's so great. This whole time. And so the committee president is looking for you, the new one, right? Not Hanzawa-senpai, the new one. So yeah, he's replaced, since he's a third year, someone else is taking his spot. And then, I was like, why is all this stuff getting in the way? He just wants to talk. And Sasaki's just like, oh my God, I never even noticed. And I know that he's been treating me with such care. And I know that Sasaki feels bad about it, but man, he swoops in. Sasaki swoops in for the kill. I thought he was going to do like the Kabadan, but no. it's not just that. He's like swooping in to kiss him. And I was like, is this really happening? Are we really having a kiss? And he's like, I love him. But he stops. He stops short. And I'm like, show, you're giving us the biggest case of blue balls possible. I'm just like, we know that they love each other. They both love each other. Just let us have this. What am I supposed to do about these feelings? Just confess, damn it. But no. And I don't want Sasaki to get the wrong idea and think that Miyano doesn't feel the same way. I'm like, I just want them to talk. I just want them to tell each other how they feel. And I know they're saving it for the next episode, but damn it, this wait. Oh my God. Give us a break. And then, yeah, we got those guys going by. Oh my God. And then Sasaki is just like, I'll leave. But he's like, Miyano's saying I was nearly kissed by Sasaki. Even though we're at school, it was about to happen. Like the emotions are just bubbling up over the surface. Oh my God. If they kiss by the end of this season, I will freak out. I'll freak out at this point. I'm just expecting a confession. I'm just expecting a confession for Miyano just next episode to confess his feelings. I'm just expecting him to confess his feelings. Finally, it'll probably be at the end of the episode. It'll probably just continue on this bullshit. I just want him to confess. And I doubt we're going to get a kiss. Maybe it'll be like the stupid OP where at the end you see them come together and it's like, now kiss. And we don't get to see anything. But you know what? At this point, I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh my God. Oh my God, I need it. I need it. But we can't have nice things in this episode, clearly. And Sasaki's like, I'm going to head on home. And Miyano, I love that he's like, senpai, wait. And as he's saying, wait, the episode ends. And I'm like, no. So the question is he going to confess to Sasaki at the beginning of the next episode? Is he going to fall down the stairs and Sasaki catch him and then he confesses? Is he going to say, let me meet you? Even if he doesn't confess, he's like, let me meet you tomorrow at the bakery at this time and place. Or let me meet you at this time and place. Let's just do this. Or is he going to blurt it out loud? This episode. God, I want to watch the next one so bad, but no. I'm going to make myself be patient. If Sasaki can have the patience of a saint, so can I. And I'm just going to wait. Until after the dub comes out. And listen to that. And refresh my memory about this episode, and then we'll just go from there. But, God, this episode has had the most tension of the entire series, and of course it's the penultimate episode, but I can't wait. I'm so excited. One more episode, y'all. One more. I'm not ready for the show to end. I'm not. But what can we do? So I'm very curious to know what you thought of this reaction. I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction discussion. I'm so curious to know what y'all thought of this episode. Oh my gosh. I'm on the edge of my seat. So yeah. Next episode will be the season finale. Nothing of importance will probably happen. But I hope you all have a wonderful week until then. In the meanwhile, please stay safe, take care, and yes, next week we will have the season finale. Oh my God, of Sasaki to Miyano. I can't wait. See y'all then, y'all. Bye.